Yo people, what is up? I just got back from a grueling fucking leg session and thought I'd nip up to the conservatory and just record a video answering a question that I get fairly often, and sometimes I just straight up answer the question and sometimes I say, oh, I'll do a video about it, and I never get around to the video, so now I'm getting around to it. Okay, so book recommendations. A lot of people ask me this and I feel like they expect to get a list of books from me that come under the self-improvement bracket, and although I am I'm an avid reader of that kind of stuff, most of the time I just read it out of interest rather than what I think a lot of people go to it for, which is the hope that it will really significantly better you as a person. Now I'll try and explain that. For a start, most books could be on one sheet of A4 paper, but you can't sell it as a one-page book, can you? So a lot of times it's dressed up and dragged out into a 200, 300, 400 page book, and that's fine if you're reading it out of interest and you're fully interested and engaged in the all the anecdotal examples of whatever it's talking about or all that. But if you just want the core messages from that book, you're putting a lot of time into it just to get one or two main ideas from it. And so I'm not sure if it's the most productive way to fucking learn about life and the world, It's certainly not as productive as just experiencing it, And so that's one thing. A lot of time books are really drawn out when it's just one or two core messages, and it could be a lot shorter. On top of that, even when you have got these, often less than 5 main messages from this book, you've read it, but how deeply have you internalized it? Is it deeply enough to always be at the forefront of your mind, such that you can use those ideas that you've read in a situation when it would actually benefit you? Is it deeply ingrained enough, just reading through a book once, to actually be able to call on that knowledge in real life? And I'm not sure if it is. I'm not sure if you can really read about things and be able to then draw upon them all the time, and obviously the self-improvement, it's a market, isn't it? And it's a big market because it's a nice idea, and we can all be better people. Obviously we can, but I don't know, I don't like the idea of overemphasizing the difference that reading these books can actually make to you. I mean, a lot of the time people will get on this self-improvement kick and it will help, but that's because they're in the mentality of improving rather than the specific books that they read. And so yeah, I just don't think that you should really overemphasize the value that you can place on these things, because some things maybe are useful, but a lot of the time it's not deeply ingrained enough to be able to call on that information or those ideas that you've learned from that book fully to actually be advantageous to you in everyday life. I feel like it's much better to just I don't know, a lot of time people get caught up in the kind of paralysis by analysis thing, don't they? Analysing themselves. What are my strengths and weaknesses, and and they get really caught up in the self-improvement. They identify with, I'm this self-improvement person, and a lot of time you spin your wheels and you're wasting time, and a lot of time it's better to learn by doing stuff. I feel, I'm no fucking guru, man, I'm no life coach, obviously. But yeah, I just think a lot of times it's better to learn by doing stuff and just living and fucking trying something, especially shit like the whole find your passion, man. That's a whole market in itself. Finding your passion. There's people who teach you to find your fucking passion, and there's so many books on finding your purpose. Try shit, man. Just try shit, and if it doesn't work, try something else, because you know what? You might live to 100 if you're fucking healthy, and that's long enough, man. If you fucking get active, that's probably long enough to to try a few things that aren't the right thing, and I don't feel like there is a specific defined purpose, so to speak, as well. I feel like you'll tend towards something that is best suited to your kind of inclinations and stuff over the years. Anyway, I'm going to get to some actual books, and there's 3 books here that I don't think people will probably expect, but I'm going to tell you which ones and why, and in no particular order. So I'll go with this one first. Bill Bryson, A Short History of Nearly Everything, and that is pretty much the first book that I read. My mum has always read a lot, and I went into it one day and I was like, oh Mum, what should I read? I want to get into reading. I was about like 15 or something, and she said, oh, you might like this, and I fucking loved it, and I've read it like 3 times since, and it is literally what it says on the tin. It's a short history of nearly everything. It's kind of really easily understandable, sciencey kind of stuff. It goes into like, you know, way back to the Big Bang and kind of all that kind of stuff. Human evolution, like, there's so much shit in there, but it is packed of like just insane, mind-blowing facts. And the reason that I really fucking adore that book is because it made me fully interested in life. Like, it really gives you a kind of passion for kind of life in the sense that you're so interested and amazed by it, and it gives you a real sense of awe. And I think that awe is one of the best kind of feelings that you can have, to just look at the world and be amazed by it. And that book is it's good shit, man. Read that book. Second one, no particular order. Again, this is called Wolf of the Plains, and as you can see, it's absolutely fucked. And what it is kind of fact-based fiction. I was on holiday with a girlfriend when I was 19, and she was reading fucking some bullshit Heat magazine or whatever by the pool, and I went over to those, you know, sometimes there's those bookshelves where you take one and put one back, and it's kind of open trade. Obviously I didn't have any, I just took one because it was a little fucking, you know. Anyway, this is the one I picked up, and it's pretty much the kind of origins. It's the first in like a trilogy or a quadrilogy, and I would actually encourage you to read them all. It's the origins of Genghis Khan's life, and at the end of it as well, there's a kind of bit that tells you what the author has made up and what he's kind of stuck to. I'm sure he lived with Mongols for like 2 years to research this shit. Anyway, it is the ultimate like motivational fucking, if you like rags to riches stories, you know, or underdog stories, that kind of shit, this is mind-blowing. Like, it's not written like amazingly, like it's not particularly intricate, and I read this when I was young as well, and I can't even follow a lot of reading when it's like, I tried to read like Stephen Fry's books, I can't even follow it because I just don't have the vocabulary to do it. But this is really simply written, but the story is just amazing, you know, where he came from, and because it tells you what is actually based on the truth and what actually happened historically, you know, it's just insane what he came from and what he did. It makes you think like, I'm a little bitch. It gives you that I am a little fucking bitch feeling, you know, and it just gives you a bit of perspective on the kind of hardship that people actually have been through and what they've achieved. And I feel like it's quite motivational in that sense. So I would encourage you to read that one also. Okay, third and final one. This is actually the works of Oscar Wilde, but within this is, I think it was his only novel, which is The Picture of Dorian Gray. That's the shit. And I'll tell you why I fucking love this book as well. This was pretty much the book that kicked off my love for words. Now, you might not be able to tell because a lot of the time I'm quite inarticulate. I swear a lot, and you know, I don't have the broadest vocabulary, but anyway, the language in this book is just amazing, and blows your fucking mind, and it kind of makes you really appreciate the English language and have, you know, at least with me, it gave me an enthusiasm for words, and just, I don't, it's hard to really explain. On top of that, there's some really kind of against the grain ideas on love, and the characters in there are really solid characters. You feel like, how can he have made these characters up? Because they just feel real. You feel like one of them must be based on him, or maybe each of them are based on parts of Oscar Wilde's. I don't know. I've got a clue. But you feel like they're too real, they're too consistent with themselves and congruent to be made up. And the language in it is amazing. The characters are amazing, and it's a really sick fucking book. And it will make you. There's some passages in it that just make you think that words are cool, man. And also, that's like a nice little book in it, so if you got that on your bookshelf, like, birds are gonna think you're proper sophisticated. Over and out, kids. See you later.
Delaney is my hero!